Good afternoon, everybody. Scott G with The Simple Trading Life. Welcome to our Friday edition of our live stream, and we'll wait just a few minutes and let some more folks join the stream. And let me get you pulled up here so that I can see your comments. Give me 1 second. There we go. So I can see your comments. Hello, Stacy. Good to see you. See, we've got several people in here already. And I'm actually a little bit early. I'm a few minutes early, but good to see people waiting. So we'll get started here shortly. I have ES up on my screen right now. Everybody can kind of see what it's been doing. Purple dashed line is opening price level. Obviously, we sold off this morning. Sort of caught support right in this area here. Let's see, right around the 28, 24, 25 area. We made a nice move to the upside. Pulled back just a little bit. Don't know yet if this is just putting in a little structure and we're going to go higher, or if we're going to then turn around and this is just structure of the bigger leg to the downside. But we'll be able to kind of look at that during today's live stream. Let me check something here real quick. Okay, I want to make sure got the camera to where everyone can see. There we go. And we'll go back. A few more people joining us. Hello, welcome. I jumped on a little bit early today, but we have not got started yet. We'll let a few more people join in on this beautiful Friday, at least here in Atlanta, where I live. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a beautiful, sunshiny day. Maybe you can kind of see the sunlight coming in through the window back there. Once the market closes today, I will go take my daily walk. Walk about 2.5 miles a day. And on a day like today, it's beautiful. I live in a neighborhood that has lots of hills, up and down, up and down. So it's good for getting in shape and just enjoying the nature. So, okay, just now 2 o'clock. We'll give everybody a little bit of time to join us, and then we'll get rolling. Nothing's really happening right now, as you can see. In fact, I'll stretch this out a little bit more, make it easier for everyone. So once again, this purple dashed line, that's opening price level from this morning. You'll see this is our 9:30 candle right here. If you look straight down, we had above average volume. That's what that green candle means. That means we were 3 times the average volume for the week. So once it goes over that line, it turns green. This has nothing to do with buyers and sellers down here. This is relative volume. So this was when it went over this line, this dashed line, that meant we were over 3 times average volume over the past 5 trading days. So we had a good start to the day. Obviously it flushed down, came back up, formed a hammer. A lot of people thought maybe from there we would continue up because of, the strength we had yesterday. Okay, right there, that's how we went into close. Then we had the huge gap up going into the overnight session. Then we sort of just ranged most of the night. Had a little bit of a dip here, recovered, and then before we opened up this morning, we were heading down already. Then we put in this hammer, could never take the top of it out. Then we flushed down some more. Okay, so that's how we kind of started the day. And this is a 30-minute chart. Anybody who's new in here, that is what I watch and trade off of primarily. I'll occasionally take some trades off of the 5-minute or in rare occasions the 2-minute, but that's only if I'm trading market open, which is rare. I don't trade market open typically. unless there's a reason to. And if I do, then I usually trade off the 2-minute for about the first 10, 15 minutes of the day. Then I might switch to a 5-minute for a little bit. But ultimately, I take the majority of my trades on the 30-minute right up here. So right now, we're just kind of waiting to see what they want to do here in the afternoon. 2 o'clock, that's sort of when action will start to pick up for the end of the day. This is also a Friday. We call the dead zone the hours between basically 11:30 and 2 o'clock. And we talk about this frequently, but volume drops off, as you can see. Okay, here's our opening candle, and then you can see how volume drops off. And then typically about this time of the day, it'll start to ramp back up into close. So unless there's just an absolutely beautiful setup, we really don't want to be trading right through here. Okay. Unless we see something that we just have to be in and all the stars align. We put a lot of factors together and it makes sense. So as I'm watching over here, we're going to wait just a few more minutes and then we'll start looking at some other names. I just don't see the market getting a whole lot of help today, right? Even when we got this pop here, okay, when we broke above 27.38 and we got this pop actually up to here, the market just didn't come in and help it. And I'm talking about the bigger names. So when you have a lot of weakness, like we're showing right here, the only way that's going to turn around is you got to get some of the big boys involved. And, most of the bigger players today, they're just not helping. Obviously, Apple had bad news. We'll just go ahead and start looking at a few things. So Apple, I want to show you this. I'm leaving my after hours portion of my screen on right now. Look how high Apple was before the bad news came out. 296.85. It closed yesterday at, where is it at? 286.44. So it went up over $10 in the post-market session last night. Okay, so here's where post-market ended. So it ended at around 295, 295.37. But then when it started today, it had this huge gap down because it had negative news. So if I remember right, the news was that their sales will be down significantly due to the coronavirus. I mean, everybody knew that, right? Everybody knew that, but that's how much it affected it. And then today, it's just been this steady decline. So from the pre-market all the way to right now, we're finally at a support level. Okay, there's just been nothing to give it support, and it's just slowly worked its way down. Let's see, that was 7 a.m. in the morning. So from 7 a.m. all the way till right now, it's worked from this level all the way down to this level, 278.47. And we'll see if it catches some support there. But this is what I mean about the big players. So the big players just are not giving any help today. Okay, here's AMD. And you can see AMD just selling off, right? It hung out here a little bit at this level. And you can see how high it was during the after hours. But again, just sold off. Amazon. Okay, here's Amazon. Steady decline throughout the whole day. Steady decline. We'll just keep going through some names here. Okay, Boeing. Now, Boeing actually had positive news. So they're not necessarily selling off, but they're not really doing anything. Right? Here's where they open, and that's about where they're at right now. So they're just not helping. When you look up here and you see that they're up $15, let me turn off the overnight, and then you'll see the gaps. So typically during the day, I keep the extended hours on until the trading session starts, and then I turn it off. Let me go back over here. So there's the gap. Huge gap up. on BA because they had good news, right? I can't even remember how many thousands of workers they're putting back to work. They're resuming production in their Puget Sound facility, which I believe is outside of Seattle. I've actually been to some of Boeing's facilities before. Years ago, I was visiting Seattle on business. Actually, I was going to Vancouver. I just happened to fly into Seattle, and I drove up, and that's a beautiful drive, by the way. Not getting off topic, but one of the most beautiful drives that you could ever take is the hour and a half or 2 hours between Seattle and Vancouver, British Columbia. Just absolutely gorgeous. I think that's I-5 if I remember, but anyway, I digress. But while I was there on business, the hotel I was staying in, I believe was in Aberdeen, maybe. That sounds right. But anyway, Boeing has facilities all around there, and they are enormous. They are enormous. So I got to visit some that were close to where I was staying. But anyway, so they had positive news, and that's why we got this huge gap. But then if you look basically throughout the day, I mean, we could just draw it in here. Okay. Basically throughout the day, this is sort of what they've been doing. Okay. Just not doing a whole lot, right? There's where they opened up. Okay, price is just slightly above there now. It's poked its head up, it's poked its head down, but the range is getting tighter and tighter. So you would expect it's either going to break down or break up at some point. You know, who knows? Will that happen before the market closes today? I mean, we still got almost 2 hours to go. It could, right? It could, but this is where we're at right now. This is where we're at on Boeing. Again, we're just not getting much help from any of the bigger names. Here's Baba. Baba, just a steady sell-off throughout the day. Got here, got a little bit of support at the 20, but then broke through. Baidu. It's going to look usually pretty similar to Baba. It held up a little bit longer, and then it sold off, and right now it's getting some support here at the 20. Biogen. Let's look at Biogen here. Okay, Biogen gapped up, sold off, hanging out right around the 20. Hey, Cathal, good to see you, buddy. Cathal is one of our premium members in the Simple Trading Life community. Anybody who's new, you don't know anything about us, you can check us out at simpletradinglife.com. We have a free chat room and we have a premium room. So you could feel free to join either one. And you'll learn more about us on our website. All right, so here is Biogen. We had the sell-off. Beyond, this will be the next one. Okay, so Beyond gapped up. Let me get a little closer for you. Gapped up, sold off, came back, formed a dragonfly, and then sold off. And then basically it was sort of in a range, and now it's been fading a little bit here the last hour and a half. Okay, so again, just nothing. Now, CGC, now this is going to be interesting. This, I hate to say, I didn't even tell the room about this. They know I like to trade CGC. I tried to get in CGC today and wasn't able to get filled. So it gapped up to, let's see, that was around 1465. Yep, 1465. Went up. Put in this nice 3-candle pattern play. You can combine these two candles here. And all that is you have a wide-ranging green candle, a resting candle in the upper 25 to 30% here. And then you're going to typically get the same magnitude or similar to this first candle. You put these two candles together and it's just about the same. And then it continued on up, and it topped out at 15.50. So almost $1. And we talk about this a lot. I won't go into it today. But on a name like CGC, If you get $1 move or anywhere around there, 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, you're going to make a lot of money. A lot of money. It's a high beta stock. And then once it got up here, and if you look over here, this will show you why it caught resistance. We have this rally base drop. It's not really a supply zone, okay, but we have a rally base drop, which is going to give us an area of resistance, and that's right where it came up to. If you guys see this, see these basing candles right in here? See where the line goes across the screen from my cursor? You'll notice that's right where price stalled out, which makes sense, right? If I would have got in, I was trying to get in right here on the break of this. If I would have been able to get in, that would have been my target. Actually, it would have been the bottom of this candle right here would have been my target. 1540, it was in my head at the time. 1540 would have been my target. Would have easily hit it. And down here, that would have been 1504. So I was basically only looking for about a 30-cent move. But on this name, that would pay because the premiums are cheap. So if you buy in options, I primarily trade options. I trade shares too, but I primarily trade options. The premiums were super cheap, so you can buy a lot of them if you want. And if you just get even like a 30-cent move, you're going to make a lot of money. So I think, I'm just going off the top of my head, I think I was going to buy 45 contracts. That sounds like a lot, but it's not really because the premiums. Let's look at the premiums. Now they're going to be even lower, actually. Let's just see where they're at. Yeah, see right now at the money's only 4 cents, $4 a contract. I think when I was trying to get in, they were only 7 cents. They were only 7 cents, right? But I'm going to show you right now, and now they've already faded. But I was trying to buy $15 calls right here, okay? They're currently, you could still sell them at 16 cents. I could have got in at 7, right? But if we go back to the chart, look where we're at now, and they're still at 16 cents. Imagine what they were up here. And I was going to buy like 45 of them. You know, I don't even know. I mean, because if they're still 16 cents after this big fade like this, you know, gotta believe they were probably at least up around 50 cents, right? And if I could buy them at 7 and sell them at 50, you can do the math. That's 7 times your money. That's 7 times, and see how quickly it moved, right? That's what you look for in options. It breaks here, went up, pulled back, and then bam, just right up here. You get that nice quick move. That's what pays off when you're playing options. I see we have several more people joining us. Welcome, welcome. We're just going through the different names right now. So that was CGC. Oh, and the reason, that's what I was going to tell you. The reason it popped like this today was because of some news that came out of Canada that was positive for cannabis companies, weed stocks. So I'm sure several weed names probably popped today. But they don't last. They don't last. You see this? So 31, 32, 33. 3 hours. And then it started selling off. Okay, crowd. Let's see what we got out of crowd today. Okay, crowd, one of the few names moving up. Gapped up, sold down to support. Right here, 63.31. Okay, came back up, came back down to retest support again, and then the rest of the day, it's been all up. So unusual. Already, for those of you who've already been in here for a little bit, almost every name we've looked at, except CGC, has been fading throughout the day. The diamonds, the Dow Jones diamonds, big gap up, sold down, sort of caught a little bit of support here. Okay, if we look across, you'll see this little ranging area. Okay, so it makes sense that somewhere in here we probably would. And there's a gap. Gaps always act as support or resistance until they don't. So you've got a gap and you had this range, so it made sense. This is where the diamonds came down to. Got a little bit of a bounce, fading just a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, Facebook. Okay, Facebook gapped up, flushed down, back up, and then just sort of slowly melting down, almost back to the 20. The blue lines on my chart are the 20 simple moving average and the 200 simple moving average. Okay, gold. Gold was predicted to be weak today, so let's see if it is weak. Gap down into supply, got a bounce back up to the 20, pushed it back down, and now it's just been ranging right on top of this supply zone. All right, when you see, actually I take that back. This shouldn't be here. Let me get rid of it. Once you're above supply, it's gone. I was thinking that was demand, but that was a supply zone that's already been used. We're above it now. So let's look and see why it stopped where it did. Well, right there you go, this pivot. Okay, down, pivoted back up. So this area right in here, you see that? You just look across. That's why we caught support where we did, and it's just been ranging. Let's go to gold, GLD. This is the ETF of gold. This isn't the gold futures, that's GC. Okay, gap down, sold down, right to support, and that's where it's been staying the rest of the day. So gold is weak. It was predicted to be weak, and it has been. Google. Okay, Google, I'll get a little bit closer here. Gapped up, tried to push its way up. Now it did flush down to support, back up, right up here to the resistance, 1287.30. See, it got $3 above that, pushed back down to support, and now right here, just ranging in here. So again, anybody who's new, all these lines you see on my chart are support and resistance levels. Some of these have been drawn in for weeks. I adjust them every 2 or 3 days, or it depends on how often I'm on a chart. But this is my watch list that we're going through, and you can see how well they are respected. I can tell you right now, I haven't adjusted Google in a while. Okay, I don't normally trade Google myself, so I don't update it that often, and still you can see how these levels are respected. Especially today, look at this. You can see how well they're respected. If we come across something today that doesn't have any levels, I'll draw it in for anybody who's new, and you can see how we do it. It's very simple. Takes a couple of minutes. That's it. Okay, here's IWM, and look at that. IWM doesn't have any lines, so we'll draw them in. Let's do that first. So if you're brand new, you'll get to see this for the first time. You go to a 4-hour chart, switch from candles to a line chart. All right, that gets rid of the noise. That's why we do that. Make sure you have your price level tool. Then you go to current price, and you work your way back to the left, and we're looking for big moves or sharp pivots. And I always draw in the first pivot. Let's see, 115.38. And you don't have to be exact. If you're within a few pennies, the way to be exact, all you got to do is hover over the line and it'll tell you where it closed. Like this one closed at 122.92. Okay, so as long as I'm close, okay, 122. And if you want it to be exact, just go into properties and make it exact. 122.92. Now I know some of the folks in my room, they like them to be exact to the penny. Even though I tell them that if you're within a few cents one way or the other, that's good enough. And you're going to see why. Let me just show you real quick, and then we'll turn it back on. Okay, you see, they're going to poke their heads above and below anyway, right? So if you're within a few cents, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, what do I got to do here? Here we go. Go back to my line chart so we can get these drawn in. Okay, this is going to be too small. We already have a line here, but we want one here, 103.07. Okay, that's good enough for me. And this one's kind of close to here. This is a sharp pivot anyway, and a bigger move, 98.11. That's the low. Whoops. Move it up, 98.11. Okay, we got that. And then right here, 134.43. And because that one's a little bit more than a few pennies off, I will come in and edit it. That's how easy it is. Okay, this one can be removed. So I did have lines on here. It's just that IWM has dropped. And several of these up here can be removed. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just kind of cleaning it up a little bit. The reason there's so many lines up here compared to here is up here, the range was much tighter. As we've dropped during this market correction, the ranges have got bigger. So that's why there's so many lines up here compared to the bottom of the chart. All right, I'm just getting rid of a few of them. Now you go back to the time frame that you normally trade. You switch back to candles. And then if you want to add lines, so if you think that 115 to 122 is too big of a range, right? And how do you know for sure? You just look up the ATR, the average true range, on the name that you're trading. And I'm just going to make this up. I don't even know what it is on IWM. I can look and tell you about what it is. 120. So that's about $2.50. It's 119. 116. That's about $2.50. Okay, this day here, 114. 118. Okay, that's about $3.50. So I'm going to say $2.50 to $3 is basically the range in a day. So if you think that this is too big of a range, all you have to do is find another place where it makes sense to draw a level in. And I would say right there is it. Okay, because it's respected here, respected here, respected here. Okay, if you see it respected, and the more recent, the better. That's why we always start at current price and work back the other way. The most recent price action is the most relevant. Okay, so that's how easy it is, right? You could even put one up right up here. Look at this. Right there. Right there. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't have to be 3, but you know, here we are. This is current price. Moving back that direction. This is only 1, 2, 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago. So that's recent price action. And it was respected here, here, here. So yeah, that's an important level. And if you come over here, that's about $1.50. That's okay, right? We know, we just kind of figured it up on the fly. Price moves about $2.50 to $3 a day. That's the range. Hopefully, you guys can pick up some shortcuts too. So you don't always have to have tons of things on your screen, like, you know, having an ATR like at the bottom of your screen, or having, I don't even know what. There's simple ways to determine that kind of stuff. Like I said, for average true range, just take 3 or 4 or 5 days and literally just take the bottom and the top and kind of figure out what it is in your head. You know, $2.50, $3.50, $2.50, $2.50, $3, so on and so forth, and kind of average them out. And that's what your average true range is going to be. It's not that difficult. All right, let's keep looking. JNUG. We traded JNUG the other day when it spiked up. Made some money. Actually made 100% on our money that day. And then it sold off. It's come back, and now it's selling down again. Are we kind of putting in some resistance right here? Let's look. Let's look. We'll just go through this. Again, you see how it's dropped out of where it was? It was $105. I've shown you guys this before. February 24th. February 24th, and it went to a low of $3. That's a huge drop. Huge. Okay, so 4 hours. I don't even know if this is worth drawing in, to be honest with you. We're going to look at it, but I don't think it's even worth drawing in. Nah. We might be able to get some stuff back this way. Like we could put one in right here. That was 13.15. That's close enough there. We could put this in. Look at that drop right there. Holy cow. 49.65 to the penny. 49.65 all the way down to $4.46 in one drop. One drop. That's incredible. That's why there's no lines in here. That's why there's no lines in there. All right. So, like I said, there's really no sense. I mean, we could put one down here at the low, 333. We can put one down there. But there's really no sense in having anything else right now on JNUG. Switch back to our candles. And this is where we're at last 4 or 5 days. So we caught this right here. This is what we caught. Then it sold off, and you can see it's making structure. Higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and it's continuing on down. Actually, you could say right here, lower low, and then moving lower high, moving on down to a lower low. Sorry about that. Okay, Microsoft. Let's see what we're doing with Microsoft today. If I remember right, they had some positive news. Hey, Dennis, good to see you. Dennis is also in our room, one of our Simple Trading Life premium members. Okay, so we had a gap up, flush down, come back up right here to resistance, sold off back to the 20, and now, like a lot of these other names, just sort of ranging on the 20. And anybody who's new in here, you'll notice a theme, right? Many of these names, many of these symbols are going to do basically the same thing. The only thing that's different is the price. That is also, and we try to teach in here as much as we can, that is also why if you know what the majority of the market's doing, you can find trades for any budget, right? We know that a lot of our members have smaller accounts, and we're really focusing on that right now. I'm trying to set some things up, trying to get a specific account set up where I'll take and I'll just put a small amount of money in there and then walk everybody through. I'm going to actually record my trading and walk everybody through how they can very easily and quicker than you might think grow a small account. Because we know a lot of our traders have small accounts. So some of them have bigger accounts, much, much bigger. But a lot of them are newer. They've either been struggling, they're improving now, but they have smaller accounts. And when we say smaller, we're talking 250, 500, 750, 1,000, something like that. You know, I've seen people run polls before. What do you consider a small account? Well, it depends. If you're a millionaire, right, a small account to them might be 50 grand, 100 grand, you know, something like that. If you're an average everyday person, like most of our traders are, small accounts are typically, you know, 250 to 1,000. Some people might say 2,000 or less. It just depends, right? But if you understand that the market, the overall market, the S&P, the Dow Jones, whichever one you like to look at, the NASDAQ, 80% or more of the names follow the market every day. So whatever the market does, about 80% or more, there's days 95% of the names will follow exactly what it's doing. So all you have to do is find names that fit into your budget. So if you're an options player, you're going to find premiums that are typically, you know, a couple dollars or less, or $1 or less, because it's going to be $1 times 100, so it's 100 per contract. If you find, like I found on CGC, I just couldn't get filled where I wanted to today, 7-cent contracts. They were 7 cents. That means $7 a piece. That's why I was going to buy 45 of them. I missed. I didn't get in. I don't chase. So once that thing started to go and I didn't get in at 7, okay, that's it. I missed, right? Because you don't want to get in late and have price reverse against you. So anyway, we'll talk more about small account stuff as we go along today. Okay, here's Netflix. And let's talk about, hey, Riz. Riz is another one of our premium members. Good to have you here, buddy. Netflix, we talked about in our private live stream yesterday. Let me go to the daily chart. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to know what something may do. And I always say may because you never know 100% for sure, right? But you can have a high probability that you're going to know what something's doing. Okay, so first of all, this is the daily chart on Netflix. What do you see? Okay, what do we see here? First of all, we see that price primarily has been moving up, but that it has been in this range. Really, we have two ranges here. I could almost draw another line right through there. And I'm going to do that. Didn't even think about that yesterday. You almost have two ranges here. So you've got this. And again, we're not trying to be absolutely 100% exact. We're just trying to show you something. Okay, so we have this, and then we also have this bigger range, right? See that? Sort of like a funnel. Okay, an expanding range. And then we were coming the other day, price 2 days ago, I think it was, made a high of like 434. And early that morning, I told my room, I said, I think Netflix is going to get up around 433 or so today. That's what I said, 433 or so. And so then I told them, I said, the way I was able to deduce that is that's where the trend line was, approximately. So it was this day right here. Yeah, it got up to 434, right? And I was just trying to guess when it was going to hit or where about it was going to hit the trend line. The trend line's not exact, right? It's just close. So I told them, and it got to 434. Then yesterday, we got as high as 449.52, and we put in this spinning top. So what I told the private live stream yesterday, I said, look at this strong move ending in a spinning top. What do you see? What do you see? Well, big wide-ranging green candle, a lot of strength. Little bit smaller wide-ranging green candle. Medium-sized green candle, and then ending in a spinning top with a topping tail. So what does that tell us? It tells us a couple of things. Number one, we had a strong move to the upside. Number two, it's telling us that we're losing momentum. See how each candle's getting smaller? Number three, this topping tail tells us that there's selling pressure right there. Number four, we're right at the trend line. The trend line, as I just showed you guys, has been respected for many, many weeks. All right. Number six, look at the overextension from the 20 SMA. You see how far away we are? Notice how price was sort of kind of just gliding along here, right above the 20. I can even scroll back over here. Gliding along right above the 20, and then all of a sudden, we get this big ramp up, okay? This big ramp up. So we overextended. When somebody says, do you use RSI, do you use MACD, do you use whatever indicator they want to use to know whether something's overbought, oversold, overextended, whatever, I say, no, you don't need that, right? You don't need that. How do I know it's overextended? Because look how far away it is from the 20 SMA. That's a big distance. The 20 is getting wider and wider away from the 200. So what I told the room yesterday, and they all can confirm that, was I said, listen, I can't tell you exactly when, but in the very near future, we're going to start heading the other direction. The probabilities are that we're going to see some sort of a pullback. Is that going to be to the 33% mark, the 50% mark, the 66% mark? That's a little cheat that we use. You just take this overall move from here to here and divide it to 33%, 50%, 66%. Don't need to put fibs on there. You don't need to do anything special. Some basic math, and typically price is going to pull back to one of those levels. All right? If it only pulls back to the 33 and then starts to bounce, typically you're going to continue on in the same direction the trend was going. If it goes to the 50% level, okay, which it's going to do about 70-75% of the time, it could bounce either direction. If it makes it to the 66% level, and we had it happen on a name just the other day, no matter whether it pulls back slightly or not, about 85% of the time, it's going to continue in the same direction it's going. So in this case, down. So if this made it all the way down, like say into this level, even if it bounced this way a little bit, there's about an 85% chance it's going to continue down if it makes it to that 66% level. But anyway, I just told everybody in the room yesterday, here's what you got to be looking for. We just went through 6 factors, 6, that told us this was likely to happen, and here it is, today. And we just talked about it yesterday. And I told him, I said, I can't tell you for sure if it's going to be tomorrow. I said, but it's going to be in the near future. And here it is, right here. All right, so that's Netflix. Let's go back to our 30-minute. There we go. And let's look at NOC, which is Northrop. This is our defense stock in my basket. Okay, same thing we saw with a lot of these other ones. You see what I mean about the pattern? Okay, gapped up, flushed down, came back up, came over, broke down, came back up, and then trading sideways. How many times have we already seen that? Same exact pattern. What pattern is that? It's the pattern of the market, right? It's what the market's done today. Let's go back and look at it for just a second. Right? If I get close here, here it is. Flush down, back up, and then kind of sideways, and now it's starting to sell off. It's just those other ones haven't started to sell off yet. They're sort of flat, but very similar to what the market is doing. Let's get back down. I think NVIDIA was going to be the next one. NVIDIA. All right, here we go. Gapped up, sold down, back up, flushed. It didn't. It supported here. So here it bounced, came up, and then it flushed through the 20 and then sideways. And now it is starting to go a little bit lower. Right here. It is starting to go a little bit lower. Okay, a few more names to get to. Pepsi. Pepsi, man, really disappointed today because Pepsi had an awesome setup. Now, I'm not going to go into the setup because it's something that we teach in our premium room, but it had an awesome setup today. And if the market would have went up, Pepsi probably would have exploded. It probably would have popped to the top side, and we were ready. But you know what? It didn't happen. And we didn't jump in. We didn't try to front run it. We didn't, it wasn't like we were trying to buy Pepsi up first thing this morning thinking, hey, it's going to go up. That's not how we trade. We trade high probability plays. So I'm not gonna actually go into what we saw, but I'm going to go to the daily. Okay, the members of my premium room, they know what the setup was. Okay, but we were looking for it to break to the upside if the market would have been strong. And we know, okay, in our room, we know there's certain things that tell us things are more likely or not likely. But you can see, like if it got over here, it could run all the way up to here, to this level, at least. Okay, we look for obstacles like big wicks, support and resistance levels, things like that. But it just never materialized because the market was weak. So because we knew that the market was weak, there was a lot of things that were on our watch list today that just never triggered. Right? They didn't give us the plays that we were hoping for, but that doesn't matter. We trade price action. So we can trade up or down. And if you have a good setup to the downside, today would have been good for a lot of those. And I know one of our members, it was one of our premium members, he made a nice trade on Apple to the downside. Nice. Okay, it was, I think he entered at like 38 cents, and I think he got about 4 to 5 times on his money when he sold, because Apple was weak. We already looked at Apple. All right, here's the Qs. Okay, the Qs was another one that had some potential from a setup to the upside, but it never developed. Look at the Qs, just selling off basically the whole day. Regeneron. Okay, now Regeneron, it is also actually a couple of the ones we're going to look at here. It's one of the few that's had some strength today. Excuse me. It did flush down in the morning like the market did, but here's the difference. Look what it did the rest of the day. It moved to the upside when the market, after the market did this, the market flushed down. Okay, so that told you that Regeneron was different. Let's see if it had news. Maybe it had news. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's look here. Yeah, it looks like it had an upgrade. And then also, if other names in the sector are strong, sometimes that will also propel it. Okay, Roku. Here's Roku. I see several people just joined us here recently. Welcome if this is your first time. Okay, here's what Roku has done today. It actually gapped down. The exact opposite of almost everything else. Gapped down, flushed down, caught some support right here. Caught some support, back up to the resistance level, back down to a support level, and then it's been slowly melting up, and now it's starting to drop a little bit if it does not get supported by the 20 right there. All right, so Roku, it did a little bit different than we've seen with most of these other names. Okay, Shop. Let's look at Shop here. Okay, Shop gapped up and went. It was a gap and go. See that? Gapped up. It never flushed like everything else did. It just went. Then finally, it topped out up here at 582.46, sold back down. Here was a little bit of a relief bounce off of this. And now it looks like it's got a little bit of weakness. Can't get back up over this resistance level at 568.90. And again, I know I have not updated these levels on Shop in a while, and look at how they're still being respected. You can just look through my chart here. All right, you see this, back down, back up to it, couldn't get through it again. But this is one that if there was a reason for you to be in it, okay, could have caught a really nice move. I think I looked this up earlier. I think it was a $35 move. Opened at 540.50 and went all the way to 582.46, or more than that. 42, almost a $42 move right there on Shop. Okay, SPY. SPY is obviously going to look very similar to the ES. So exactly the same, right? Flush down, back up. Get a little closer for you. Flush down, back up, sold off, caught some support, and now it's starting to fade as well. Now, I gave a scalp in our room. In fact, let me see here. Let's do it this way. I gave a potential scalp. I'm trying to make this so you can see it a little bit better. So 1, 2, 3. So it was on the break of that candle right there. And that was 283.94, and we got as high as 284.77. So not quite $1. I was actually expecting it to get up here around 285.38 was the target in my head, which was just under the top of this candle up here. But no strength, no help. We got the pop. I mean, almost $1 on SPY is actually not bad, right? That's not bad. But, you know, I really thought we could get up here, but just no strength, no help. I've been saying it all day in our room. The market is getting no help. So we had that huge move yesterday on two things, right? The president saying that he's now got a plan in place to reopen the economy. And then number two, Gilead, the pharma company, saying that the one drug they have is showing promising results in treating coronavirus patients. However, overnight, they sort of walked that back, and they're like, whoa, they've seen how the market was ramping because of what they put out, and they're like, whoa, we don't have enough, clinical data yet to say for sure. We're just saying there's promising results. In the limited amount of testing we've done, there's been promising results. I think that's also partially contributed to why everything sort of kind of pulled back in. And, when the president made his comments yesterday, then overnight, a lot of people were saying, well, that's not a plan. He's just, oh, we got phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3, but where are the particulars? What are we really doing? Because all you're saying is, states, I'm telling you can do this, and here's a loose framework on how you can do it. Now, I'm not being political one way or the other at all. I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or not a Trump supporter, Republican, Democrat, whatever. I'm just telling you what the market was thinking. It ramped because of one thing, and then what pulls it back down? Well, first of all, it may be a little bit exhausted, right? When you ramp, let's go back to the market so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, when you ramp like this, you see that? Right? So this is like 3 times bigger than any candle on the screen. Then we have a huge gap up. Then we make it all the way up here. When you ramp like that, look, you're getting far away. You're overextending from the 20. It's got to take a rest. It's got to take a rest. I mean, even if it's sideways. So we did come sideways. Then we've now went lower. Okay? So it made sense that we were at least going to pull back over to the 20. But then Gilead comes out and says, don't read too much into what we said. We're not saying we have a cure. We're just saying the results are promising in a limited test. And then, like I said, the president's detractors came out overnight, and they're like, that's not really a plan. We're still in deep trouble, which we are. Okay, and again, I'm not pro Trump or pro this or whatever. I'm just saying from a financial standpoint, we're still in big trouble. As a country, as a global planet, we're still in big trouble, right? We're not coming out of this anytime soon. There's not going to be a switch flipped and the global economy is just back to normal. It's going to take a long time, right? So I think all those things coupled together made sense that they were going to kind of sell it down today. Now, luckily, and when I say luckily, I'm just saying for the health of the market, it at least caught some support. And let's just do the quick math, right? So here's the overall move. Right? Let's just take a look at it. So we're going to do the math. 2788. So you guys know I don't do the math in my head very quickly. So the high was 2885 minus 2788. That's $97 divided by 2 is $48.50 plus 2788 is $28.36.50. $28.36.50. Which is right in here. So if I draw a line, I'm going to put it across. Just give me a second because I'm going to change the color. All right. 28.36.50. This is the 50% retracement of the move. I'll make it blue so it stands out. All right, that's the 50% retracement of this entire big move. So you see we got to it, and now we're just we're going back and forth. The 66%, let's see where 66% is. We know it's 97 times 33%, which is $32 plus 27.88 is 28.20. So let's find 28.20. It's right there. I see it right here. 28.20. And I'll fix it and I'll make it red. So 28.20. This is the 66% retracement of the move. So it's important to know where these levels are. Okay, now we can squeeze back in. And we haven't quite got to it yet, but pretty darn close, right? So we made it to the 50, we broke through, we came back above, we're coming back down. If we take this out, it becomes highly likely that this trend's going to continue. It's about 85%. Once you retrace about 66% of a move, it's about 85% that you're going to continue on. You might get a relief bounce at some point right around here, right? Could you count this? Maybe. I mean, this is the exact 66% number, but that's pretty darn close. 28.21, that's within $1. So maybe we could just say, hey, that is close enough. And there's the relief bounce. And now we're going to probably continue lower. All right, so it'll be interesting to see. We'll watch it a little bit later today. We'll watch it over the overnight session. But the probabilities are is once you retrace 66% of a strong move, that is a strong move, right? From there to there, that you're going to come back either 33, 50, or 66%. You're going to hit the 50% mark about 75% of the time. You don't that often hit the 66% mark. So if you do, it's showing strength. And that's probably why, if you make it here, that you're highly likely to continue down. All right? Again, everything that we do is based on probabilities. Everything that we do is based on probabilities. Got some more new people joining. Okay, nice to have you. All right, let's look at a couple of Forex names, and then we're going to look at a few other things. So let's look at Aussie Dollar. We'll just kind of work through a few here. Okay, Aussie Dollar. Not quite a double top there. This one never got all the way back up here. But as you can see, it sort of looks like one, but I mean, you don't have to be exact. I mean, sometimes a double top is going to be, maybe here, maybe it'll be equal, maybe it'll poke up just a little bit above. But then once it starts back down, right? And what I don't like about this one, you see how low this one came? I don't typically trade double tops or W's, which would just be a double bottom. Because if you're trading it from a purely technical standpoint, you're not going to enter until you get back down here. Because that's what's confirming it. At least that's what the books say, right? But what happens then is look at all this that you're missing. Look at all this. Okay, we're looking for price action signals that tell us we can get in other places. Okay, now my folks in here know that this was a beautiful, beautiful signal. Let me make it bigger so you can see it. All right, strong move down to a hammer. Hammer gets taken out. You can go long, right? You can use a trailing stop. I can give this information out. This isn't secret. When I'm trading Forex, I'm usually, once I put a trailing stop on, it's going to be somewhere between 7 to 12 pips. And I've got some certain factors that determine that, but you could just say 10 on average. So if you had a 10 pip trailing stop here, you would have caught all of this up to right here, I'll bet. Let's look. That is 54, 55. Down to, yep, so this wick's about 11 pips, but still, if you entered right here, okay, on the break of this, that's 62.85. You would have come all the way up here, and then it would have retraced down. And once it retraced 10 pips, so let's say you would have got out right there. We know this wick is 11 pips long. That's 63.45 from 62.85. 60 pips. 60 pips. And all you had to do was just throw, look for the setup. Here's the setup. Strong move down, hammer, enter right above the hammer. Put your stop down in here. Okay. Put a 10 pip trailing stop on it, and you never would have got stopped out until right there. We looked at a couple, I think it was in the private room the other day, 2 different ones where we would have caught over 100 pips just by using a 10 pip trailing stop. 100 pips. We call those set and forget trades, right? You enter here, and once that starts going your way, you throw on a 10 pip trailing stop, and you just go do your business. Because it's either going to keep going up and going up and going up, and eventually it stops you out, or it might stop you out early down here. But either way, you got no worries. Not going to lose much, right? I don't put the trailing stop on until I see a move like this. Once I get a move away, that's when I put it on. Okay, so I'm not setting it right here. I'll set a manual stop wherever I want it, 50% of the way down. Some people go all the way under the wick. I think that's too much myself. I'm conservative, so I like tighter stops. But I'll set a manual one to start. But once you start seeing a move away like this, then I throw a trailing stop on, and then you can just go do whatever. Okay, a few weeks ago when the market was really falling, I was trading primarily Forex at that time, and I had 2 weeks in a row that I got over 500 pips for the week. And most of those trades were done with trailing stops. And like the folks in my room, they'll probably remember, because I would put the trades in there, and I would say, okay, on this one, I made 17 pips. Just make something up. It was up 27 pips, but I had a 10 pip trailing stop, and it came back and hit it. On this one, I made 70 pips. Well, it was up 80 pips, but it came back and, it hit my trailing stop, and I made 70 pips, so on and so forth. That's how I trade Forex. I don't just sit here and watch the trade. Okay? Now, I might do that on some stocks, especially when I'm scalping, but on Forex trades, if I have a setup like this right here, this is like about as good as it gets. That's a perfect setup. Once I see this first move away from where I entered, I just throw my stop on. Now, like I said, how do I determine whether it's going to be 7, 10, or 12? If I'm really thinking it's going to be a longer term play, like I'm going to be in this thing 8 hours, maybe a day, something like that, I'm probably going to throw a 12 pip stop on. It's only 2 pips, I know, but you'd be surprised how 12 will keep you in a trade longer than 10. 10 is sort of my average. And then 7 is if I come back, I'm just going to make something up. Let's say I come back to a trade and we're like right here. I've already caught a bunch of a move. I may shorten that from 10 to 7 and then just let it go from there. Okay, that's when I might throw a 7 on there. I'll shorten the 10 to a 7 because I think I'm getting nearer to the end of a move and I want to catch just a little bit more, right? A full contract, 3 pips, that's an extra $30, right? It all adds up. Okay, let's look at a couple more Forex. How about Euro USD? We've talked about this on our private streams. We had this big kind of falling off the cliff move the other day. And look how this has given a lot of really nice trading opportunities. Look at the structure here. Now I got a little choppy in here, had a drop, back up, back down. Those are trades if you have a setup. If you have a setup. All right, what could be a potential setup? Well, like right here, we kind of came up from here, We based across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we had a little 9 candle base. Well, that becomes a range. Once you go over in supply and demand, you don't really want to go more than 6 candles. So all you do when you see this developing is if this is something that you like to trade, or if you like to trade breakouts. Now I'm just telling you, for me, I probably would have drew it around here because only that one candle is sort of out of kilter. Okay, I would make that gray. Make this gray because for me that indicates that it's either a range or it's structure. See this? And then when you're watching it, because you don't know when it's going to happen, now all you're waiting for is a sharp break, one direction or the other, out of the box. It's that simple. Okay? If you get a sharp break this way, what would be a sharp break? Clearing these wicks. All right, so entry 1 spot 0862. 0862. And let's see where it went to. Down here is probably where I would have exited. When you get a bounce like that, I'd probably get out. So I'm just being conservative. I'm just saying, honestly, I probably wouldn't have been in it all the way down here. So right there, 826. And what did we say this was? 862. So 4 and then 30, 35, right? 35 pips. Okay, on a simple breakout trade. 35 pips. And I'll bet you, let's see what this wick is, 16. Yeah, that's a 10 pip wick right there. 10 pip wick. But anyway, that's probably where I would have been getting out anyway, whether I had a trailing stop or not. Just because when you start to see a bounce like that, you don't want to give up all your profit. But that's a 35 pip breakout trade. Very simple. You'll see this kind of stuff all the time. Your eye will start to get trained to it. Draw your box around it and then wait for your breakout one direction or the other. Kind of have some targets in mind. On something breaking out of here, I'm kind of looking. I probably would have been looking at this wick right here. So when we got down here and I saw this bounce, either one of these might have scared me enough to get me out, but it probably would have been right about there. 35 pips. Put it in your pocket. Okay, Cathal, pound dollar, the cable. So let's go look at that. This is another one that a lot of people like to trade. Okay, here's where it was the other day. Let me just draw this in. Okay, see how we came up? We bounced, but then we came back up through. Then we fell off the cliff, right? This is where you hope you have a signal. I see something that's very nice. I'll show you. Okay, right there's a 3 candle pattern play. See it? 1, there's your resting candle. And then if for some reason you had a trailing stop and you didn't just play for a scalp, you probably would have rode that down to here. Okay, that's a 3 candle pattern play. Happens all the time. Very reliable. Then we bounced here to 200. Okay, put in some range here. Then we dropped. Then we dropped. Okay, so when you're drawing your box, it only goes around the bodies. Only goes around the bodies. Okay, like that. Make it gray. Recently, I haven't talked a whole lot about breakout trades, but they're very reliable. They're not always going to get you huge moves. Sometimes they will. I mean, sometimes they'll get you really big moves. But they're pretty reliable. But once you get a sharp breakaway, now actually that should be extended. Activate. Okay, get a sharp breakaway. Now here, would I wait all the way down there? I probably wouldn't. Okay, I know we have 2 long wicks here. I'd probably try it under here and then have my stop back just into the box. That's probably what I would do. All right, because we draw it around the body. Same thing up here. I probably wouldn't wait all the way for this wick. I'd probably, maybe this one. Take that one out there, and then I'd have my stop right here around the box. So if we started to break out, right, it's going to look like a nice red candle, and for some reason we can't clear that and we come back, I just stop out. You know, I lose 7 or 8 pips. But if I clear it, I know we're probably at least going up here, if not all the way back up here. All right, so then we had to break out down here, right to support. We bounced off of support. We worked our way up. Okay, this one, even though it sort of worked, this is not really a 3-candle pattern play, only because of this big topping tail. On a 3-candle pattern play, you want this top wick to be fairly short. We love dojis. We love spinning tops. Right here in the upper 25–30% of this candle shows rest. This shows more of a struggle. Now, it did work out, right? It did work out, but the rules say you don't enter until up here. Okay, so now you got the 20 coming down. That might make me nervous, right? But anyway, we got this big move right here off of support. We came all the way up here. Now this is a 3-candle pattern play, and it's what we call a combination candle one. You just put these 2 candles together, and what do they make? They make a big green candle, right? If you just slid that candle over, you can combine candles. That's what it's called, combination candle play. All right, you put these 2 together, that's a big green candle. Here's your resting candle with the smaller top wick. You enter right there on the break, and you're looking for a move similar in magnitude as this. And that's exactly what you got, right? But that's a scalp. So as soon as it starts to come back against you, then you got to get out. You take what you got. Let's see here. 48 to 73 is what? 25. But you wouldn't have exited there. You would have exited as it was starting to pull back. So let's say 68. Could have got 20 pips on a highly probable play. This pattern happens all the time. But this is the more reliable resting candle than this. I hope everybody can see why. Right? Even though this did end up working and going on up, this with the smaller topping wick, topping tail, is the more probable play because you have less resistance, right? So then we turned over. We started back down. Kind of based across here, dropped. Let's see here. I'm just looking through here, seeing if we see anything that we really, really like. Back up, down. I might be scrolling over a few things, but nothing that's jumping out at my eye. Back up to the 200. Look at that right there. Okay. See that little pattern there right to the 200. This started to come back against it, but once you take out the bottom of that, now this is not a pattern I like to play, but I'm pointing it out because I know a lot of people like to play this pattern. You have a strong green candle to the upside that hits resistance. Then you get your smaller, could be a red or green candle really, but red's better. And then you get a medium-sized red candle that comes down about 50% of the way. If you take the bottom of that out, a lot of people think that's a signal to go short. Okay, and it did work here. Look at this. It did work. I probably would have maybe, if I was playing something like that, maybe took it back to the 20. All right, and then here we go. Okay, not a perfect hammer. I'd like to see this body be about right there and a little bit more wick, but we still had a strong downtrend right to here, and then boom, blast up. Okay, and then up here we got a hammer for a move down after a move up. Okay, again, I'd like to see a little bit more of a wick, and I would have loved it if it would have hit this. Okay, but still, that's not bad. You enter here. Okay, take it right back down to the 20. Let's look. 25.04. And we would exit slightly before the 20. 24, let's just say 80 to make the math easy. So 24 pip move. So you see how you can find these high probability plays and just scalp 30 here, 20 here, 15 here, whatever. You just make a few of those a day, there's 100 pips. It adds up in a hurry. Okay, let's look at some other names and then we'll go back and look at the market. Let's look at Tesla. I don't know if Tesla's done much today. Gapped up and then basically just fizzled. See the gap up and then fizzle. All right, Twitter, anything from Twitter? Okay, gapped and went up strong, okay, right out of the gate, and then turned around and sold back off, and then it's just sort of making structure on the way down, lower low, lower high, lower low, back to the 20. Had a nice strong move out of the gate. 27.16 to 27, basically 90, 15, about 75-cent move. I don't know what the premiums were on Twitter today. Couldn't have been that much, right? It's a Friday. Again, it's late in the day, so the premiums are going to be really low now. Maybe earlier in the day they were in the 30s. I don't know. They would have been cheap. It's a Friday and it's a lower priced name. Implied volatility is relatively low, 33%. So probably could have made decent money on a 75-cent move on Twitter today. Okay, back to the charts, and we'll look at one more, and then we're going to go back to the market. We're also going to talk about a couple other things before we get off today. All right, gap down. Everything else gapping up, gap down, sold off. Okay, sort of drop, base, tried to rally, and then kind of fizzled and sort of fading a little bit here. Okay, see that? Drop, base, tried to rally, couldn't get over this wick right here. Then it just kind of fizzled out, and now it's dropped down a little bit. So not a whole lot of fireworks. As you can see here on Walmart, I had a gray box drawn in because we had a nice range here. See this nice range we had? And there was the breakout. There was the breakout. It ended up going all the way up here. So probably, is that 129.75? Oh, a little over $3 move. I know you would have made money on that. Okay, a little over $3 move on a breakout out of the range. So that wasn't my goal today, was to come in here and talk about breakout trades, but you can see they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You just draw them in just like I did here, and it'll be super easy for you to visualize when to get in. Make sure you keep your stops tight. That's the most important thing, a nice tight stop. You can always re-enter. Okay, now if you're battling the PDT rule, I understand that. Okay, there's ways around it. You could trade a cash account, and then you have to wait 2 days for a regular trade to settle or 1 day for an option trade to settle. So if you took an option trade and you got stopped out, that money will be available to use tomorrow. If you took an equity trade, you're trading shares, you're going to have to wait 2 days to use that money. So I'm just making this up. You know, you go into this trade with $250, whatever, options, equities, however you're trading it. But let's just say it was options. Took $250 worth of options, and it didn't work, and it went against you, and you stopped out. You'll be able to use whatever's left after your stop was taken out. So let's say you have $225 left. You'll be able to trade with that again tomorrow. Okay, so you can get around the PDT rule that way. We've talked about this. I did a YouTube session on that. You can take your money and divide it. You know, if you have a small account, say you have $600, well, I can trade with 200 today, 200 tomorrow, 200 Wednesday, and your money will always be cycling. Got 200 to trade today. That could be one trade. That could be two trades, right? 100 and 100. And again, it starts to sound like a little bit of money, but if you're playing options, you can find, like I found today, right? You can find trades where they're $10 a piece, a contract, $7 a piece, $5 a piece. You can buy quite a few of those with $100, right? So you could take a couple of trades in a day, and that money will be available tomorrow if it's options. But that's how you can do it with a cash account. Your other option is you sign up with an offshore broker, meaning somebody outside of the country, because the PDT rule does not apply. Now, there's a little bit more involved. Some of those can be risky. Some of them can. Some of them have good reputation. You should read the reviews. I'm currently $5,000 or more in their margin account. They use them because they have a good reputation. Now, they have a great platform, but you got to pay for all this other stuff. That's where they get you. For the ability not to be under the PDT rule, you will have to pay for commissions on your trades, okay, including equities. You know, here in America, now almost every broker's commission free on shares, but not if you're going to trade with them, right? Because that's a luxury for you to not be under the PDT rule. Now, their options pricing is actually better than we get here in the United States. For the most part, it's better. But you'll have to pay per contract. You'll have to pay for the platform. And I do believe that CMEG will refund each month if you make enough trades throughout the month. If you're an active trader, they'll refund your platform fee, which, don't hold me to this, I want to say it's around 130 to 150 bucks a month, something like that. But they're going to charge you for that kind of stuff that we don't necessarily pay for most of the time here in the United States. But that's another way to get around the PDT rule. So if you're being affected by that, that might help you out. But anyway, if I'm able to, and I'm already going through I was told by some folks who are trading with them already, and I also know some people that never were able to get approved. They're actually more strict than the U.S. brokers. So the application process is long. There's a lot of stuff that you have to provide for them, a lot of questions you got to answer, and then they do verify it. You can't lie about anything because they verify it. And even when you send them what they ask, I sent them everything they asked for to begin with. I just got an email yesterday saying, hey, we want more information. And somebody had already warned me about that. One guy I know told me it took him a month or a month and a half to get his account set up. But once he got his account set up, he's like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. I can just trade and trade. And you get leverage. I forgot to tell you. You get leverage on anything $500 or more, 4 to 1. And then once you go over $2,500 in your account, it goes to 6 to 1. Okay? That in America, you have to have 25,000 or more in your account to get leverage with most brokers. There may be a few out there that might give you leverage below 25 grand. But I'm talking about like on just equity trades. So if you have 500 bucks in your account, you're really already trading with 2,000. If you have 2,500 in there, well, let's just say 3 grand to make it easy, you're basically trading with 18,000 because you get 6 times leverage once you go over 2,500. So he said it took like a month or a month and a half for him to finally get set up because he said they just kept asking him every couple of days, well, we need some more information. We need some more information. He eventually got approved, and he said, I was about to throw in the towel, but he said, now that I'm with him, he goes, I love it. I love it. So anyway, let's go back and look at the market. I've really been trying to work a lot with people on how to grow small accounts recently because there's just so many people that have small accounts. All right, so here we are. And since we've been gone, okay, when we left last, we were here and we were moving our way down, and well, we put a hammer in and now we're moving our way back up. Okay, so are we going to see a ramp into close here to end the week? So down, okay, sort of looks like we're putting in a W pattern, doesn't it? Okay, well, we'll know if we clear this. If we clear this, this thing could really get beasting, especially on a Friday into close. Now we've got the 200 up, or the 20, but look, it's really about the time it would get there, it would be right about where this wick is anyway. So if, and it's a big if, because there's been no help by the market today, if we could get up here and take this out, this thing could really pop. It could probably pop at least up into here. At least. So I don't know that we'll be on here. I mean, typically we jump off of here around 3:30-ish, which is only in about 8 minutes. But let's see. I'm going to set an alert. I'm going to leave that one there. That one's there for a reason. And I'll tell you what the reason is, so just give me a second. Let me set this one. Go up one. There we go. All right, so it's actually right there, but it combined them because it's so close to that one. So I have one set right here at the top of this wick. If we take this wick out, my alert will go off, and we could really see a pop into close. But it's got to be able to get there, and that's what was happening here today. Right across here, look how many times we had to test this level right through here to be able to pop up over. All right. So let's see here. Let me look at some of these names and I'll know. Huh? We'll see. When we left, BA was about 148 or 147. It's up around 152 right now. So we're starting to see some of these bigger names maybe start to push here at the end. If that happens, then maybe we could see the market pop into close. Let's look at Amazon. I think I already passed it. Let's see what Amazon's doing. Okay, Amazon's starting to pop. You see this? So this is what we were looking for earlier in the day. Okay, we were looking to see if the bigger names would start to move, because if they start to move, then that helps the overall market and vice versa. So Facebook, okay, Facebook put a hammer in, trying to go green. Okay, trying to break above there, and again, it's in a similar position as the market. It has to get over this wick, but it just put a hammer in off the 20. Okay, let's look at Google. Okay, Google hammered, going green. So maybe the market will get a little help here in the close. Let's see. Let's see what Netflix is doing. Okay, Netflix, hammer, starting to go green. Nvidia. You know what I'm going through here is mostly like the biggest ones, the biggest players. Okay, hammer, going green. Roku not giving any help. What about Tesla? Tesla not giving any help. All right, so I just wanted to look at a few. Some of them are, right? Some of them are. Several of the FANG names are trying to turn around and show some momentum into close here. All right, so there we go. It's trying. I mean, it is trying. I'll keep my eye over here. What I'm watching is to see if some of these other names, not specifically BA here, just because it's something I can watch. And it's already made like a $4 turnaround just since we've been talking. So if names like that, and we saw Amazon and we saw Google and we saw Facebook, names like that start to turn around and go green into close, well, then the market might have a chance, right? Might have a chance to pop here. Before we get off here today, does anybody have any questions about anything? Anything I can either answer for you, something you want me to look at? Okay, we only got a little under 34 minutes until regular trading hours close for the week. It's been a really good week. I know in our room, simpletradinglife.com, you can go there, check us out, free chat room, and we have our premium room. You know, you could look to enter either one. We've had a great week. We've done a lot of teaching. We've done a lot of trading. We've been very conservative. The traders in our room, some of them are like literally, when I say brand new, they're very, very in the very beginning stages of their trading career. Others have been trading for years and years, and they're all saying the same things. We keep it simple, right? I teach in a simple way. I talk in plain language. I'm not out there trying to impress somebody with like a whole bunch of knowledge and fancy complex strategies, because all that does is confuse you. All that does is confuse you. I've been through all of that myself. I've been trading on and off for over 28 years. The more complex you make anything, the more it slows you down and confuses you. You make things simple, you don't even have to think about it. Then your eye starts to look for the right things. Then the triggers, the setups and the triggers, they just start popping out at you. Oh, I know exactly what this is. Okay, if this happens, then I do this. Okay, I put my stop here. Oh, look over here. Here's my price target. I know I should get out slightly before that so price doesn't bounce against me. There's just all this little stuff, and we talk about it all the time. We go over stuff day after day. I throw out trade ideas. I throw out names to look at. I throw out some setups, and sometimes they trigger, sometimes they don't. Today, because the market was very, very weak to start the day, coming into the day right here, okay, because the market was very, very weak, a lot of the things that we put in there today didn't trigger, because most of them were based on not necessarily setups to the upside, but the upside was the higher probability trade. So what we know, what we always practice, is we want to take the highest probability trades possible. So if they don't trigger, we don't try to force something else. Unless we find a short somewhere else that sets up to our rules, our parameters, then we don't do it. Okay, and we're not going to try to force a long trade. I know I get asked a lot of times by even traders in my community. People will say, "Oh, I see XYZ company. It's about to, this trigger or this setup is happening, and this trigger is about to hit. Should I go long?" Okay, my response is always the same. First and foremost, what is the overall market doing? If the overall market's going down and you're getting a trigger on something going up, all right, it's probably not a high probability play. Not in every case, but about 80% of the time, here's what's going to happen. Your trigger is going to hit, you're going to enter, but because the market's going down, it's just going to pop up barely and turn around and follow the market down. Then you're just going to get stopped out. Best case scenario. If you didn't have a stop, well, then you're going to lose a lot because it's going to drag you down with it. So I know some traders in our community have very quickly learned that. They can see that. As much as possible, and it's not going to be every single time, but as much as possible, you want to trade in the direction of the market with the majority of your plays. Not all of them, right? Not all of them. We've already looked, like SHOP today was strong when the market was weak. Okay, SHOP was. Regeneron early was really strong when the market was weak. But they stand out like a sore thumb because they're so strong compared to the market. All right, there's our alert. We just broke. Okay, we just broke the top of this wick right here. Let's see if we can continue. If we get over this 20 and get a pop into close. Okay. If we get a break over this and get a pop into close, that would be something after as weak as we've been all day. Okay, but anyway, going back, we're going to watch this. I'm leaving it up on the screen here. I just had an alert go off on the Qs as well, which makes sense, right? The Qs are going to be following basically the market. So let's go look at the Qs real quick. There they are. Decided to find them. Guess I could have just typed it in. All right, so I had some alert set right through here, and we just popped above it. And it was probably a similar alert, basically looking for a break now. We have a nice candle structure over here. If it could get started up this direction, man, you could see a big rally into close. If it could really get started that direction. because we have some nice candle structure over here. Okay, the folks in my room know what I'm talking about. I mean, we just need a little momentum. That's it, a little bit. Okay, now I don't typically myself trade the last 30 minutes to 15 minutes because the market is heavily manipulated and the volatility increases. Now I know a lot of people say, oh, you can make a lot of money there. Yes, you can, and you can also lose a lot of money in the final 15 to 30 minutes of the trading day. Normally about this time, I've already wrapped it up for the day. Okay, a lot of people who trade the final 30 minutes, they're trading out of desperation. They've either had a bad day and they're looking to make up for it, or they've had a really good day and they think, I'm invincible, nothing can stop me. And then they start trading in this high volatility environment towards the end of the day that's also heavily manipulated, and they end up giving back all their gains for the day. And man, that's a terrible feeling. I don't want any of you guys to do that. Okay, so far the Qs is still popping. Let's go back to the market. I can hang out for a few more minutes. We'll see what happens here. Okay, it's still popping. Look, getting up above the 20. Okay, so I just had another alert go off. So the alert that I had going off there was something for me, and it was basically, what was that? I'm trying to remember why I had it set now. Man, I can't even remember now. I'll go back and look here later, but it was something for me, and I knew if we made it back there that it was signaling something. We already know that we're getting the pop I just talked about. The crucial thing was just clearing this wick right here. Right here. Look at what we've done since we've cleared that wick. Okay, and I said we should at least make it up to here. All right, we should at least make it up to here, if not higher. Okay, it's catching a little bit of resistance at opening price level. But it's already been, it's already been a nice move off of this hammer here. Okay, we got our move down, hammered. That's a nice hammer. Okay, if you're looking to scalp, you can enter right here. So that's 20, let's just say 28.35 to make the math easy. Okay, up to here would have been $11. You could have had this as a T1, right? This is 28.46. That was clearing this. And then this is 28.50. Yep, 28.50.25. My T2 probably would have been the top of this candle. I wouldn't have wanted to probably risk getting into the wicks, even though they're not that big. That's why I'm saying if it can break through here and get some more momentum again, it may even be able to clear those. So we've come all the way back to opening price level to end the day. And how many days does it do that, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like we've talked about that like at least 3 times this week. Just to the people in my room. No matter what happened to during the day, we end up ending the day almost right where we started. This purple dashed line was opening price. And you can see we're back up to it. Okay, we're back up to it. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm going to probably go ahead and jump off here, but I want you guys to just kind of watch it into close. Because it's got the potential, right? Because I showed you like with the Qs. Let's go back to that really quick. I can just type it in. It'll be quicker. Q. Okay, I want to show you. I don't know why that came up. Okay. If it gets going, this candle structure over here, this thing could like literally just start to grow right into close. Because there's nothing over here that really should stop it. In fact, it's the opposite. It should actually help it get going. It needs to kind of get up in here. If it gets over there, that would really help it get going. But anyway, we'll see. We'll see. But we got kind of what we thought, right? We knew if we could clear that one wick, we were going to get a pop on the market, and we did. Okay, right there. And from the hammer, ever since we hammered right here, we've been strong to the upside. All right, now we're back up to opening price level again. Can we get over it? Okay, a simple thing is you turn on the time and sales. You're going to see this start to pick up towards the end of the day. Okay, these are the orders that are being placed. Okay, SPY, an alert just went off on SPY. So I gave an alert earlier today on a potential entry on SPY. That alert that was just going off was my price target getting hit. So that alert, for those of you who are in my premium room, that alert that I gave on that 1 hour reverse candle earlier, my price target just got hit. So if somebody would have entered there, that would have been the price target, would have been a nice gain. Okay, look at it go. Look at it go. Now, can it clear these? Can it clear these? I'll set an alert right up here, although we may, who knows, it may happen before we even get off here, right? Okay, now let's see if this goes off. All right, because that's the next obstacle. Let me move it over here. Okay, but when you watch time and sales, I only turn it on when we're kind of at levels that I want to see what's happening. It's telling you the price. These are actual orders that are just now taking place. So the most current order that happened was right here. Okay, and then they scroll down and you can kind of see, okay, is price moving up or is it moving down? Green are buyers, red are sellers. And then over here, I have mine set that it only shows big orders. So it's 10 contracts or more times 100. So every number over here you see is times 100. Every one of these numbers. Okay? So we just had a bunch of sell orders. See this? That's 5,200, 9,900. But we had a bunch right here in a row, and that's when you saw price come back just for a second, came back here to opening price level. So we're watching to see, are we going to get another pop or not? Okay, BA is continuing up. I told you this was a little bit of a gauge. Again, when we went away and we're looking at those other names, BA was down around 148, 147. Now it's all the way back up to 153 and still climbing. Okay, that's what I mean about help. The market needed help from the big boys. Now that the big boys are starting to participate, you can see what's happening. Okay, the market's starting to get some oomph. Okay, it's trying again. Real FX, GBP USD, selling and hold. Okay, awesome. Selling and holding GBP, the cable. Pound dollar. All right, here we go. I'll hang out a couple more minutes with you guys. If it can clear these, then this is the next thing, right? If it can get above here, then it could pop up to here. Okay, so now, not only did we make it all the way back up to opening price level, we're trying to go higher into close. We still got 20 minutes, 19 minutes to go. And look, see how the prices are climbing? Last price was at 28.54.25. There it goes. Okay, we just popped that level. We just popped that level. Todd Father. Okay, so for us, retail traders, they have a regular trading hours close, and that's for options. So you have to be out by 4 p.m. Eastern time if you're trading options. It then goes to 4:15, and then they take that like 15-minute break from 4:15 to 4:30, and then they go to 5 o'clock, and then they're done. But you can't trade options during that time because they calculate the final strike price on options based on I think it's the average price of the final minute of trading. I believe that's how it works. The final minute from like 3:59 to 4 o'clock. and that is the final strike for options. So you've got, if you're in options, you got to be out by 4 o'clock. But they will, the trading goes on until 5, but you have to be out by 4. Okay, so we got that pop. It's pulling back just a little bit. Trying to watch over here to see, are we still, I'm trying to watch two sides of my screen, because as BA's been going up, the market was going up, these numbers were going up. You're welcome, Todd Father. You're welcome. Okay, you can just kind of watch over here. It'll show you. It'll show you. I only turn this on when I'm at a level where I'm trying to see, are we going to get through it or not? Okay, but we kind of called this, didn't we? We said if we just get a little bit of help and clear this wick, we could see a pop, and we got it. Now, can it continue for another 17 minutes? Or is it going to get up here and just sort of stall out? I know somebody in our room earlier predicted that we might just end right here at opening price level, basically 28.50. Was that Sunny? I can't remember if that was Sunny, but somebody in our room predicted they thought maybe we would close today and end the week at 28.50. Right now with about a little bit less than 17 minutes to go, that doesn't look like too bad of a prediction, does it? All right. Okay, so I'm going to let everybody go. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you're brand new, check us out, thesimpletradinglife.com, simpletradinglife.com. Go to our website. If you want to check us out in the free chat room, there's a button for that. If you'd like to join our premium room, it's super affordable. And obviously, we think it's well worth it. You can check us out there. It's just month to month. There's no like long-term contracts or anything like that. And we'd love to have you. Come check us out in the room, learn what we're all about. We do these live streams every Tuesday and Friday from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thank you again for your support. Make sure you give us a like. That helps us with YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and then turn on that notifications bell, and it'll alert you every time that we go live or we upload a new video. Everybody have a great day and have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.